Hi, this is Dirks, co-author of the book, The New Marketing Analytics. In this short video segment, I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking to you about something we feel is pretty important when it comes to being in the forefront of being able to take advantage of the data that your enterprise gathers. And quite simply, it boils down to gathering even more data. We think that it's important for businesses that are forward-looking in terms of being able to capture data on their prospects and customers to create different ways to capture that data, to capture more data. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I know, there are fairly efficient, standard ways to capture customer data. When a customer inputs data into our systems, when we capture their buying data, when we capture their payment history, when we capture their customer service history, those are all the fairly common ways that we capture data. But I think that the future is really for those who are a little bit more creative and find ways to create vehicles, mostly digital, but they don't always have to be digital, but mostly digital, that offer value to their customers and to their prospects, and in return for that value, provide a way to drive information and customer data back into the enterprise. Well, one of the ways, as an example, that some industries have been trying to integrate more personal data into their enterprises is auto insurance providers. So, you pick one, Progressive, there's a number of them out there. State Farm, I believe, also does the same thing. A few years ago, they started introducing this little mechanism that basically goes plugs into the car. So you plug this device into your car, and it records a tremendous amount of data that the insurance company wants to look at, that their actuarial said, hey, we want to look at the driving habits of this particular driver. We want to understand how they drive, the speed that they drive, how fast they drive, how long they drive, a whole set of data that they were not able to get or collect years ago. Now, there's some challenges with this device. First of all, a lot of the insurance carriers will tell you that when they introduced those devices to capture driving data, they weren't expecting people to just run up to them and go for it. People are very, and rightly so, are very concerned about their privacy, and there's nothing more personal than how a person drives. Among other things that you can capture easily enough. So, but by and large, the companies that have tried to use this device as a way to gather customer data and data related to how they drive have been somewhat successful. Part of the challenge is that they probably haven't added enough value to the proposition of why you want to take the device at all. The hope is that if you take this device, plug it into your car, the auto insurance company will see how great you drive, and if you're a good driver and it matches their actuarial algorithms that they use, you might get a discount, maybe. Or you just stay where you are. Maybe your driving habits fit right in line with what their actuarials have said it would be. Or perhaps maybe you're even worse a driver that they anticipated, and it's possible, or not without reason, that they could in fact charge you more. So that's not necessarily a great enticing reason for someone to take the device, although people have. And I think the mistake that some insurance companies have made is that they give the device out for free, but they don't give any value back at the time that they give the device. So it's very important to understand that if you're going to create an app, or you're going to create a device that collects data on a customer's buying behaviors or different behaviors related to your business, you need to make sure that you give them some value back. There's no reason for anybody to share their personal information unless they feel that they're getting something that's worth more than the price of sharing that information. And in the case of the car companies that were giving this little device out, They were basically saying, hey, we'll look at your data for 6 months. So for 6 months, you got zero. And at the end of that 6 months, there was no guarantee you were going to get a discount, although the car companies claim that they do provide discounts for drivers that show a certain amount of driving awareness and safety. But again, to the consumer, why would I do this? My feeling is you would want to probably go back to the customers and say, look, we'll give you maybe even a partial or a slight discount for taking this mechanism, plugging it into your car, using it for 6 months. And at the end of the 6 months, we'll take a look at the data. And if the data looks great, you get an extra discount. If the data doesn't look so great, maybe we leave you where you're at. But providing an extra amount of value is really, really important when you're creating new ways to pull data into your enterprise. So just keep that in mind. Car companies I think it's a very clever way to gather very personal data down to the customer level for driving habits, and to be able to aggregate that over time probably serves the actuarial industry wonderfully. It can probably improve and validate maybe the actuarial algorithms that they use to determine what your insurance rates are. But they miss the mark because I don't believe they're adding enough value. Anyway, I hope that helps you as you start to think about creating different ways to collect customer and prospect data. This is Dave Dirks. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you at the next video.